guys, sorry about that. We're still on worksheet number 6, worksheet 6, video 6, and we were on number 4. City A received 24.5 inches of snow. City B received 20 2/5 inches of snow, and City C received 17 3/10 inches of snow. The meteorologist lost the data for City D. However, she knows the total for all 4 cities was 93 inches. How much snow did City D receive? Well, if we add up all of the snow that cities A, B, and C received and we subtract it from the total, then that'll give us City D. So the first thing we need to do is get all of our snow. Okay, so we had 24.5, and we're just going to take them 2 at a time instead of doing all 3 at once. It's a little less to work with at one time. And 20 2/5. Okay, if we're going to add fractions, remember that they need a common denominator, and it's not going to affect our whole number, so we can go ahead and put those over here. Okay, our common denominator, we need a number that 5 and 2 will both go into evenly with no remainder, so I can use 10. And remember, if we get a new denominator, we have to get a new numerator. What would I have to do to 5 to get 10? I would have to multiply it times 2, so I would have to do that here also, and my new numerator would be 4. What would I have to do to 2 to get 10? Well, I'd have to multiply it by 5, so I have to do that here also, so my new numerator will be 5. We bring down our common denominator, so we keep that. That's why we got it in common. And then 5 plus 4 is 9. 4 plus 0 is 4. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So we know that City A and B is 44 9/10 inches. So now we need to add City C to that. So we have 44 9/10 from cities A and B, plus we have 17 inches and 3/10 from City C. Luckily, everything's already in tenths for us, so we can go ahead and bring that down. We already had it in tenths. 9 plus 3 is 12. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry your 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. So we have 61 12/10. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense because that number's higher. Okay, so we have an improper fraction right here. So 10 goes into 12 one more whole time. So that would make us have 62 wholes. And 1 whole is equal to 10/10. So if we took away 10/10, we would be left with 2/10. So all together, all 3 of our cities got a total of 62 2/10 inches of snow. Okay, so now we have to take that away. We have to take that away from the 93 inches. Okay, so 93, that was whole inches. And we need to take away what we know from cities A, B, and C. Okay, we have to have something to take 2/10 away from. So we would have to borrow a whole one over here. So now this will be 92 instead of 93, 92. And since we were working in tenths, if we borrowed a whole 1, we would be getting 10/10. So now we have 92 on this side. Let me use a different color there. 92 on this side and 10/10. And then we subtract. So we bring our denominator on down. We keep our common denominator. 10 minus 2 is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 9 minus 6 is 3. So now we know that City D must have received 30 8/10. But if I didn't see that, what's another way that we can write 30 8/10? Okay, they're both even numbers, so I know I can divide both of them by 2. So we would have 30 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So our final answer is 30 4/5. Well, it's just not going to work at all today. Okay. Miss Hilt traveled 6,760 miles to Japan. She read one book every 450 miles she traveled. How many books had she finished when she got to Japan? Okay, so we take our total miles, 6,760, and she read 450 pages she read one book every 450 miles. So if we divide that, that'll tell us how many books she read before she got there. So we know 450 won't go into 6, so we placeholder 0. We know it won't go into 67, so we placeholder 0. We do know it'll go into 676, and it'll go one time. So 1 times 450 is 450. And then we subtract as usual. 6 minus 0, I'm going to drop it down here so you can see through the words. 6 minus 0 is 6. 7 minus 5 is 2. And 6 minus 4 is 2. Now we still have one remaining digit, so we have to drop that 0 down. Okay, I know 450 will go into 2,260, but if you have no idea how many times, you don't even know where to start. Cover up everything but the first number. Okay, 4 won't go into 2, but 4 will go into 22. And 4 will go into 22 about 5 times. So let's check it with a 5. So I'm going to go over to the side, and 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2. 5 times 4 is 20, plus the 2 that I carried is 22. So yeah, that works for me. I can use a 5. I've already done the math over here. Okay, so now we subtract, and 6 minus 5 is 1. So we have 15 with a remainder of 10. Okay, so the question asked how many books had she finished when she got to Japan. So if she had something left over, she didn't finish that one, did she? So the number that she actually finished was 15. Okay, and the last one. Mrs. Hilt earns $3,000 a month. Her rent is $660 each month. Her monthly food bill is $350, and her insurance costs 1/3 of what she makes. How much money does she have left after paying all those bills, or all paying those 3 bills? Okay, first of all, we're going to have to figure out, we need to know how much her insurance is, so we'll know how much to subtract. And what it tells us is her insurance costs 1/3 of what she makes. So 1/3 of, so we know that in math, it's always of 1/3 of how much she makes, and she makes $3,000. Okay, and we know when we're multiplying fractions, it's easier to look at it like this is a fraction also by placing it over 1. And then we just multiply straight across. 1 times 3,000 is 3,000, and 3 times 1 is 3. 3,000 divided by 3 is 1,000. So her insurance, just her insurance, is $1,000 a month. So now we can go back. Now we know how much she makes. She makes $3,000 per month, and we can start taking away her bills. Well, her insurance was $1,000. We just calculated that. So after her insurance, she has, we'll just label this right here. After her insurance, she has $2,000 left. So we've taken care of her insurance. Her monthly food bill is $350. So let's subtract $350 from $2,000. 0 minus 0 is 0. We can't take 5 from 0. We can't take, he's going to let him borrow some, but he doesn't have it yet. He's going to have to borrow over here. I'm going to change colors. So we would have to borrow all the way over. He borrowed a power of 10, but he already loaned some, so he doesn't get to keep it all, so it'll be 9. So he'll get to keep the 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So after her food, she has 1,650. So now we take that number. Okay, so she still has 1,650, but she still, so we've taken care of her food, but she still has to pay her rent. So now we have to subtract her rent. 0 minus 0 is 0. We can't take 6 from 5, so he's going to have to borrow. And since he was taking 6, he's not really going to have enough to loan him, so he's going to have to borrow all the way over. So now this will be a 0. He had already promised them some, so he'll be 15 instead of 16. All right, 15 minus 6 is 9, and 15 minus 6 is 9. So now we've taken care of her rent. So after she pays all of her bills, she has $990 left for the month. Peace.